Hello Sounders, it's Mick here. Before the dust settles on that Middlesbrough game, I'd like to add my own two penn'orth worth. Two penn'orth worth, an expression you will hear nowhere except Pompey Sound today. It was one of those days Pompey give us that lift the spirits, but that was marred later on in the day by the sad news of Milan Mandaric's death, a man so well thought of by all those who lived through his era and Portsmouth Football Club. There'll be plenty of words said about him on Pompey Sound in the next couple of weeks, I know, and I can only add that as a true football man, he would have been delighted by Portsmouth's display on Saturday, and he would have shared the pleasure that the Pompey faithful took from it. Of that, I have no doubt. So, back to Middlesbrough. The day started brightly. There was some sun, some blue sky, less wind and rain that had been forecast. Fratton Park looked a picture. There can't, Sounders, be a better playing surface in the country. So we came off 4 games without a win and 7 games with only one to play a side unbeaten. 2 points indeed clear at the top of the championship and with the least goals conceded in our league. This was tough. This was going to be a tough game. The only consolation I could find was on checking the programme notes. There's always a little feature at the back of the programme about a list of the league's top goal scorers and another of players with the most assists to goals in the championship, and Middlesbrough provided a name in neither of those lists. So maybe, I thought maybe, clutching at straws, maybe they're not the greatest going forward. Beforehand, we had a meet in the staggeringly good, the bar that I attend and enjoy. And I said to the guys I would take a 1-1. And a lot of them went along with that. 1 or 2 more optimistic, 1 or 2, I'm afraid, very pessimistic. It was one of those games. And so it began. The first half, Pompey took it to the opposition, didn't they? They mixed up the playing out from the back with long balls up both flanks. They gained territorial advantage. They moved the ball quickly. We would have celebrated a first goal back home for Connor Chaplin were it not for an unfortunate deflection, unfortunate for us, deflection past the post by a defender. I couldn't see which one, I'm afraid. Difficult to see from where I am in the south stand, detail like that. But it was beautifully set up, I know, by Yang Min-ok. And then that boy, that South Korean lad, that Tottenham loanee, he scored following such an excellent cross. A cross ball, first of all, a cross ball across the pitch from Dazelle, from the left to the right byline, reached by Williams, and then he first-timed, which was a key thing, I think, first-timed cross back into the run on goal of the South Korean Tottenham loanee, who scored with as much technical skill as he showed on Wednesday night for his first goal for the club. The confidence, Sounders, that poured into the team and the crowd from that glorious moment on was obvious. And to the credit of both those elements in Fratton Park battles, neither team nor crowd gave that initiative up for the rest of the game. My dear old friend Johnny Moore, these days the ultimate pessimist, reminded me at half-time that we had gone 1-0 up on Wednesday night, and look what happened then. And Borough certainly gave it a real go after half-time, as you would expect a team looking at promotion would. Pompey got pushed back towards the Milton end, and with the size of support Middlesbrough had brought with them, you might have expected the worst, but their crowd really didn't seem to get a chance of support in Edgeways on Saturday. And their team, for all the territorial advantage, didn't merit an equaliser. They didn't. And they didn't get close to one. Not really close. Sounders, our crowd were magnificent. They get up, they understand, they appreciate, and they get up for the big games. And this was one of them. And when they're in that sort of form, it can't do anything but lift the players and suppress the opposition. I'm there in the South Stand. I'm looking at the Middlesbrough players. I'm looking in deep into their eyes. They are dulled. They are dulled as the noise of Pompey support grew. It's hard to think down on the pitch in those circumstances, I would argue. You could see the frustration of the Borough bench, unable to get their messages through to players who were dulled in the eyes by the noise of the faithful. Meantime, John Mousinho is a weather vane of Pompey's fortunes, directing his team, arms in perpetual motion, like a conductor out the Albert Hall Proms, Sounders. And then came the Dam Busters March. Fratton fans at their finest. And it was all over. It was all over. And we'd won. A quick run through the individual performances on such a good day. Joseph Bursic, or Bursic, I think it's Bursic, I don't know what it is. Joseph Bursic will have been so pleased with his clean sheet, and surely must now be enjoying his time between the sticks for Pompey. He even managed to give his manager some Mousinho time with the players towards the end of the game, when requiring treatment in the face of considerable opposition pressure. Goalkeepers have to do these things, Sounders. The back four looked on Saturday like the best we've got. And that's in the face of some strong competition from the bench. Jordan Williams had another fine game. And he was, as I've said, instrumental in providing the goal. And then afterwards, delightfully, and there's a phone reproduction, there's a phone recording of him giving Yang Min-Hoek tuition leading up to, as they walked up to the Fratton end for the post-match fist bumps, which the boy did delightfully, and tentatively, but he got a wonderful reaction back from the crowd. Conor Ogilvie, as good as ever, is all I can say about him. And he's growing. His understanding with Min Ayuk on the field is growing. There is no doubt about that. Josh Knight had his best game for the club since he joined, I think. Regan Poole has had just a splendid week. Marlon Pack, he does get frustrated, but mainly with his fellow players. Sometimes, to be fair to him, with himself. But that's because he so patently, obviously wants the best so bad, and he's just a fine skipper. John Swift has to work very hard, given so much goes through him, and it has to all be executed at pace, doesn't it? So he needed the break, it seemed to me, after an hour. But I do think his linking work in midfield is vital in getting us up the park. That particularly showed in the first half. And when it fades, it's fair enough that he should come off. But he's an integral part of the side. Andre Dezelle continues to shine. His manager must be so delighted with his work rate. And his cross-field pass to Williams for the goal shouldn't be forgotten. And it hasn't been by me, as you can tell. Connor Chaplin showed signs he's getting there and bringing the fans what they want from Connor Chaplin and hope for. And he will get there and deliver that, I know. Colby, as usual, took on bigger men and gave them problems. And that's one of the most important jobs he can do. And Yang Min Hyuk grows in confidence and is so obviously keen to impress, and with the tools to do so. And he's a nice young man. He's going, Sounders, to become very popular. Onto the bench. We have the best bench, I reckon, for years. On Saturday, we saw Mark Kozhnowski for over half an hour. And he looked good. Let's be fair, he looked good. He worked hard, he made tackles, he changed play. Actually, he made one horrible tackle, horrible for himself, I mean, when he went down hard on a knee. I can't for the life of me remember which, or I'd be guessing if I said it was his right. But he hobbled around for some minutes afterwards and limped a bit after that. I'm paranoid about our injuries, Sounders. Anyway, he seemed to recover, and we're starting to see from him why he was brought to Portsmouth. And that's both a relief and exciting at the same time. Andrei Segacic is an excellent weapon to bring off the bench. And he won't want to be hearing that. He'll be wanting to start games. Harvey Blair had more good minutes to contribute, and still, I feel he still needs to get his full back on both sides so that he's not readable. But we like him, and he's learning. And Terry Devlin had an excellent half. Not half an hour. That's better. An excellent half an hour, doing everything required to shore up his defence and take the team up the field on the right flank. It was hard in that second half, but he brought all the right energy and strength. Full backs, if they're playing properly in John Mousinho's setup, they have to get at the opponent's goal lines as often as possible to put in crosses. And that's an exhausting role. And for Williams to have Devlin to replace him is invaluable for John Mousinho. Now finally, Sounders, I have to say, there was booing after the game. So I naturally thought it must be at Matt Targett, who had been well named just that through the game because of his connection with the deck chairs. But it was for Anthony Backhouse. Sounders, you may not agree with me, but I have been known to be very grumpy with referees, but Mr. Backhouse was not one of them. I thought he was fair. He may not have given decisions you thought he should have done, but he was consistent that he didn't give them for both sides. He let the game flow. He allowed quite a lot of physical contact. He gave only 3 yellow cards. He played only 5 minutes of time added on at the end. He did a good job. Anthony Backhouse. Come on, Sounders. We see worse than that most weeks. I'm sorry, but I'm not booing Mr. Backhouse. Play up, Pompey.